Hunter-gatherers didn't have calendars, 5-year plans, or quarterly reviews. They woke up, and the task was simple and immediate. Find food, stay warm, stay safe. Not glamorous, but psychologically clarifying. Every action had a direct, visible connection to survival and well-being. The feedback loop was tight and real. Modern humans live almost entirely in abstraction. We worry about things that haven't happened. We replay things that already have. We scroll through the lives of strangers and measure ourselves against highlights we weren't even present for. Psychologists at Harvard ran a landmark study tracking thousands of people throughout their days and found that nearly 47% of the time, people's minds were not focused on what they were actually doing, and that mind wandering was consistently linked to lower happiness, regardless of what the activity was. Ancient humans didn't have the luxury of a wandering mind. Tracking an animal through a forest, reading the weather, navigating terrain, these demanded full presence, not as a spiritual practice, but as a survival requirement. What modern wellness culture sells as mindfulness was simply the default state of our ancestors. They weren't enlightened. They were just fully here. We've built a world that rewards distraction. Notifications, infinite scroll, background noise, all of it pulls attention away from the present moment and into an imagined elsewhere. And the brain, which evolved for presence, pays a quiet price. Restlessness, dissatisfaction, a persistent feeling that something is missing. Ancient humans weren't necessarily wiser. They just couldn't escape the now. And it turns out, that was a form of protection. For most of human history, the individual didn't really exist as a standalone unit. You were part of a band, a tribe, a clan. You knew everyone around you by name, by story, by face. You were needed, practically, not just emotionally. If you didn't show up, someone went hungry. That kind of belonging isn't a feeling. It's a structural reality. You mattered because your absence had consequences. Anthropologists estimate that our ancestors lived in groups of roughly 20 to 150 people, small enough that everyone had a role, a reputation, and a place. This is what Robin Dunbar described when he proposed his famous number. The brain evolved to manage around 150 stable social relationships. In ancient communities, people lived exactly within that range. Today, we have thousands of connections and fewer people to call at 2 a.m. Modern loneliness is paradoxical. We are more connected than ever and more isolated than ever. The U.S. Surgeon General declared loneliness a public health epidemic in 2023, noting that its health consequences are comparable to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. We have social media, group chats, and open offices, and still a growing number of people report having no close friends at all. What ancient humans had wasn't just proximity, it was interdependence. Shared meals cooked over shared fires, rituals performed together, grief expressed collectively, not alone in a room with a phone. The tribe wasn't a choice, it was the container of identity itself. Lose the tribe, lose the self. That's not just philosophy. Research in social neuroscience consistently shows that chronic social isolation activates the same pain pathways in the brain as physical injury. We were never designed to be alone, and for most of human history, we weren't. There's a concept in economics called the hedonic treadmill, the observed tendency of humans to return to a baseline level of happiness, regardless of what happens to them. Win the lottery, temporary spike, then back to baseline. Get promoted. Brief satisfaction, then new expectations. Buy the thing you wanted. A few days of pleasure, then the eyes move to the next thing. We adapt to everything. And that adaptation, which once helped us survive, now quietly sabotages our contentment. Ancient humans didn't have an infinite supply of new things to want. The band had what it had. A successful hunt was cause for genuine collective celebration, not a baseline expectation. A warm fire, a full stomach, a safe shelter. These weren't taken for granted, and so they were experienced as real goods. Gratitude wasn't a journaling exercise. It was the natural response to things that could easily not have been there. Yuval Noah Harari argues in *Sapiens* that ancient foragers may have had more varied, interesting, and cognitively stimulating lives than the average modern office worker. They weren't doing the same task for 8 hours in front of a screen. They were reading the world, plants, animals, weather, people, with their entire bodies. The work was hard, but it was whole, and when it was done, it was done. There was no inbox waiting, no performance review looming, just the fire, the people, and the night sky. Sometimes enough really is enough. We just forgot how to feel it.